Just 5 kilometers from Poland, Russia strikes energy infrastructure in western Ukraine. Russians hunt their troops after civilian massacre near Ukrainians' Pokrovsk, and how Ukraine to receive 250 of world's best fighter jets. That is news next. Russian forces attacked energy infrastructure in Novovolynsk, Ukrainians' Volyn region overnight. The town is located 5 kilometers from the border with Poland. Novovolynsk Mayor Boris Karpus reported.
The enemy carried out another strike on a high-voltage substation. There is significant damage, and the substation is not operating. The State Emergency Service and all relevant services are working at the site of the explosions.
According to him, more than 80,000 subscribers in the Novovolynsk community and nearby settlements are currently without electricity. It is reported that critical infrastructure in the city is powered by generators. The water supply is operating from the power grid, and some boiler houses have also switched to generators. He also noted that energy workers are working to restore the electricity supply through other substations. Due to a critical shortage of PAC-3 interceptor missiles for Patriot systems, Ukrainian launchers were left empty last month, unable to counter ballistic strikes on energy infrastructure, according to a Financial Times report and an interview with Yuri Ignat, head of the communications department of the Ukrainian Air Force Command. Empty launchers during attacks. Colonel Yuri Ignat said Ukrainians' air defense faces serious challenges when ammunition runs out faster than supplies from partners arrive. Some air defense systems sometimes stand empty while attacks still need to be repelled, he noted, highlighting the difficulty for the country's air defenders. According to the Financial Times report, the shortage reached a point last month where Patriot systems could not respond while Russian ballistic missiles struck Ukrainian power plant unimpeded. About scale of attacks on energy infrastructure. Since the start of 2026, Russian forces have already carried out 217 attacks on Ukrainians' energy sector. The Kremlin's main goal remains to freeze the country and pressure its leadership into capitulation. Despite frequent outages and a strained energy system, surveys from the Kiev International Institute of Sociology indicate that these attacks have not shaken Ukrainian resolve or created a widespread demand for concessions to Russia. Zelensky on air defense. Ukraine has repeatedly urged Western allies to speed up the delivery of air defense systems and missiles. President Volodymyr Zelensky has emphasized that delays in weapons deliveries directly impact the protection of critical infrastructure under constant ballistic threat. He noted that while Ukrainian defense forces have significantly strengthened protection against Russian drones, the current level of defense remains insufficient, especially at key and most vulnerable locations. Ukraine has agreements in place to receive new combat aircraft, including Swedish Gripen and French Rafale jets. President Volodymyr Zelensky said during his meeting with faculty and students at the Kyiv Aviation Institute.
Ukraine currently has agreements to receive 150 Gripen fighter jets and 100 Rafale jets. These are, in our view, the best aircraft in the world. Of course, there are also F-16S. Ukraine's Air Force already operates F-16S, not new ones, while the aircraft I just mentioned are new.
Zelensky also announced that after the war, Ukraine plans to rebuild and expand its civil aviation sector. We will expand and develop civil aviation, but first and foremost, we will finish the war and focus on this era as well, he added. About Ukrainian's Air Force expansion, Zelensky previously said in October 2025 that Ukraine is pursuing a large-scale program to develop its combat aviation. The goal is to format a fleet of 250 modern aircraft, including F-16 Gripens and Rafales. On November 17, 2025, Zelensky and French President Emmanuel Macron signed a declaration of intent to significantly strengthen Ukrainian's air force and air defense. The agreement included potential future contracts under which Ukraine would purchase around 400 Rafale jets. In December, Zelensky met with Rafale manufacturer CEO Eric Trappier to discuss the program. Also in October 2025, Yuri Ignat, head of communications for the Ukrainian Air Force Command, noted that Ukraine had long considered acquiring Swedish Gripen jets, which are seen as an optimal choice and in some respects superior to American F-16s. Ukraine does not need to choose between targeting Russian military sites or energy infrastructure, since Moscow uses revenue from energy sales to fund its weapon programs, President Volodymyr Zelensky said during his visit to the Kyiv Aviation Institute. When asked whether Ukraine has the resources to strike Russian energy infrastructure instead of purely military targets, the president responded.
We don't have to choose whether to strike military targets or energy infrastructure. He sells that energy. He, Kremlin's head Vladimir Putin, Edicho, sells oil. So is it an energy target or a military target? Honestly, it's the same thing. He sells oil, takes the money, invests it in weapons, and uses those weapons to kill Ukrainians.
He added that Ukrainians have two options in this situation: to build their own weapons and to strike either Russia's weapons themselves or the sources of the Kremlin's revenue.
The source is their energy sector. That's what this is about. You can't separate it into military or non-military targets. For us, all of these are legitimate targets. Number one, number two. And who else could have done this to the Russians? No one.
Zelensky also explained the purpose behind Russia's strikes on Ukrainians' energy infrastructure, saying that when Moscow cannot break Ukrainians' military, it strikes deeper to break civilians, who far outnumber soldiers. In other words, to break the army, you have to break the civilians to create chaos in civilian society, he added. Russian troops continue to commit war crimes in Ukraine. Ukrainian intelligence has obtained evidence of another killing of civilians, the main intelligence directorate of Ukraine's Ministry of Defense reports. According to an intercepted communication released by the Defense Intelligence near the city of Pokrovsk, two Russian soldiers first shot local civilians and then fled their positions. An officer of Russia's 30th Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade of the 3rd Army is heard warning a fellow serviceman about the fugitives. The officer cautioned that the soldiers could appear in the area where the unit is deployed and urged that they be detained immediately if spotted. Watch out, there are two new guys, they might come into your area. If you see them, detain them immediately. Tie them up as soon as you catch them, the officer said. Ukrainian intelligence noted that the intercepted call effectively confirms that Russian forces are systematically killing civilians. It also indicates that Russian troops practice extrajudicial executions of their own servicemen. Intelligence Directorate of Ukraine's Ministry of Defense reminds that every war crime committed against the Ukrainian people will be met with just retribution, the statement said. Earlier, representatives of Ukraine's main intelligence directorate released intercepted communications in which Russians said they had received orders to kill civilians near Pokrovsk. According to the intercepts, this is exactly what they were doing during the fighting for the city, killing any civilians they found in Pokrovsk. Overall, this episode also corroborates earlier intelligence assessments. According to those findings, Russian forces on the front lines are suffering from severe moral exhaustion due to constant strikes by Ukrainian defense forces, failed assaults, and heavy losses. As a result, some troops are reportedly using drugs to relax. Russia's war against Ukraine has demonstrated the vulnerability of tanks without anti-drone protection. Despite this, NATO exercises continue to employ traditional tactics without taking this threat into account, which has drawn criticism from analysts, Defense Express reports. Romania and the US conduct tank exercises. Abrams and TR-55M1 tanks involved the Romanian Ministry of Defense reported on joint exercises between Romanian and American military personnel at the Smardan training ground, which lasted from January 29th to February 4th. The purpose of the exercises was to improve the combat readiness of the units and enhance the operational compatibility of the armies of both countries. About joint tactical exercises. During the exercises, the military practiced tactical actions at the unit level, troop command, and combat shooting during the day and at night. According to Defense Romania, Romania was represented in the exercises by servicemen from the 284th Tank Battalion Kuzavoda, who used 4 TR-85M1 Bizonal tanks. The American side deployed 5 M1A2 SEPV2 Abrams tanks. What are the challenges during exercises? According to Romanian Army Lieutenant Colonel, the tasks set were generally accomplished, although the exercises were hampered by difficult weather conditions and low temperatures. The technical problems that arose were quickly resolved by the repair team. About criticism of training format. At the same time, the Ukrainian analytical portal Defense Express notes that the format of the exercises does not fully meet the requirements of modern warfare. In particular, experts note the absence of anti-drone protection elements on the tanks, which is critical for the survival of armored vehicles on the battlefield today. In 2024, former US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan made a statement about the effectiveness of Abrams tanks in Ukraine. In particular, he said that Abrams tanks had not been very useful on the front lines in Ukraine.
When it comes to Abrams tanks, we have sent Abrams tanks to Ukraine. Those Abrams tanks units are actually undermined because it's not the most useful piece of equipment for them in this fight.
That's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. Support Ukraine, like and subscribe.